You want to skyrocket your elo, so that's why you're here on YouTube trying to find a teacher that will give you the secrets, everything that you are missing to skyrocket your elo. And you're in luck because I do exactly that. Most chess teachers gatekeep the important information from you so that they can sell a course on everything that you're missing. A very important example is chess teachers that tell you to only understand your opening. And then, if you only understand your opening, you will not have memorized anything and you will still make mistakes. And it's always those types of teachers that will sell you an opening course, even though they just told you that memorizing openings isn't that important. That doesn't make any sense. So I will not gatekeep anything from you and I will just give you everything very, very bland and skyrocket your elo for real. So my opponent did waste a lot of time in the opening, which cannot be a good thing. And usually, if he wastes a lot of time, that means that my pieces will be more active. And if my pieces are more active, that means that I should probably be able to break open the center and exploit that. So I really want to do this. You can go backwards. But then I get in with an attack on the queen. So you will probably have to take and take, move the queen somewhere. And then what? I am not sure. So maybe, what if I do this? And if you take, I sacrificed a pawn. I don't know. Let me just develop a rook. So you should always do the most flexible move first. And I am for sure going to put my rook on e1. So let me do that first. And I think maybe now this works because the queen cannot go back to f6. So if I do this, you move the bishop, I get in here. You have to move the queen to an awkward spot. And then my knight is incredibly strong. And I will have successfully opened up this rook. So I think you have to take, and I will take back. Then you will have to move the queen to an awkward spot, and then I can move my bishop anywhere that I want. And my e1 rook will be opened up. And I will also have a dark squared bishop that I can launch. It's very weird that that doesn't blunder anything. Um, you just don't take and it's fine. If I do this, I don't know. So you don't have a threat. Let me just move my pawn so I can attack the pawn like this. So I'm trying to, we are equal in pawns and material, but I have a bit more activity, I would say, and my king is castled and his is not. He could castle queenside, but then I can just pawn storm him, I'm quite sure. You break open the center while I have more activity. That should be suicide. So take. Mm, yeah, so he broke the center open while I have more activity. So if you have more activity, you should try and force the center open. My opponent just did that, even though I have more activity. So that should be very, very bad. Um, so now I will just attack his weak pawn. And try to have even more activity. I could kick the queen again because my bishop isn't really doing much anyway. So you are preparing to move the knight with an attack on my queen, but you can do that. I'm not scared. So let me just attack your queen. You can move the knight, but I think I can do nice things there. So, mm, I have so much pressure. I feel like there should be something here, but I don't see it yet. I think that there should be a winning sequence here already, but if you don't see it, you can't just blast all of your time on it. So I could try to do this. I don't know if that's smart. I could take a free pawn, but I don't think that's my priority. Then you will probably move, and I will move with a defense. That's a bit too complicated. So let me just move this queen out of the way of this knight so I can prepare the rook development and have more pressure on the pawn. Oh, you can take that, but I don't know if that's smart, to be fair. Uh, I can take, you have to take. You have to take. I can take this. You have to unpin. Then I can take, and pin a new piece. So now you have to save this, but I can prepare this pawn push. I can also give a check if that works. Yeah, I don't know. That was a free piece, but I don't feel like you can take it because your king is stuck in the center. There should be a checkmate somewhere here. I feel like. So you defend the knight with the knight. I can put pressure on that knight. So if I put pressure on the knight, you will unpin this knight. I can then take. Oh, but I didn't pin it yet. If I do this, queen takes. I cannot give a check with the queen. That's annoying. So if I do this to pin the knight, you unpin this knight, then I have to take, pin it. You can castle. You cannot castle. So let's pin this knight and this knight. And you cannot save both. And I think I will win both because I can pressure them insanely badly. Yeah, so you unpin the one knight, so I can take this one. You have to trade queens because your queen is undefended. Now this is pinned, and you cannot castle because the bishop is undefended. Yes, that is true. If I do this, you do this. And if I take, you take, and I take, and we are equal. So let's go all the way back here. This is still undefended, and that's still pinned. So now you did unpin your knight, but now I can pin your knight again. And now this knight is attacked 2 times and only defended once. And I don't see a way that you can defend it. Yeah, you can try to attack my rook. But first of all, I can just take this with checkmate, so that doesn't work. So if that was helpful, subscribe. The only thing I did was take the center with pawns. Then my opponent did undermine it, to be fair. So I developed pieces, and my opponent hung around with the queen. So I think for lower rated players, this is very, very instructive because that happens a lot. Your opponent just moves the queen too much. So I am trying to develop my pieces while attacking this queen and develop my pieces even more while attacking the queen. So I'm constantly improving my position, while my opponent is constantly just moving this queen around. And now I develop my pawn structure. So you should take the center with pawns and then develop pieces. So now I take the center with a pawn while keeping this piece active. After this, I have to go back. So I go back with a attack. and maximum activity. Now that he moved the bishop, I take the center with even more pawns. I keep developing and I castle my king. And now the dynamic is that my king is safe on the flank and his king is stuck in the center. So I just blast open the center because I have a lot of activity. His king is stuck in the center, except if he queenside castles, but then a pawn storm will arise and I will win for sure. So he either opens up the center, allows me to open up the center, or queenside castles and I pawn storm him, or he develops to prepare. Prepares to kingside castle, but that will waste so much time that I break open the center and I have awesome targets. So my opponent tries to shut the center, but this is a massive weakness. I just develop my rook, so you should always try to develop the pieces in the most flexible order. I am for sure that I want to develop this rook to e1, but I don't know if I want to develop my bishop like this, or like this, with this maybe, or like this, or like this. I don't know how to develop this bishop, but I know for sure that my bishop wants to go to e8, that e1. That's what I did. Now he develops the knight, but this blocks the pawn, so this pawn is even more weak. And I go for this maneuver to attack the queen and have my knight even more active. So now, and even now, I'm trying to get my pieces to the maximum activity. I thought it was forced to take, but he wasn't. And after he blows open the center, I can just develop, and do this. And now, to be fair, I did just blunder my piece. But even blundering my piece doesn't matter if you have a king stuck in the center. So I want to emphasize with this video how important it is to develop and castle your king. So even I just prepared this. I did just blunder a piece, but it doesn't matter. You have moved your queen so many times that I have two incredible bishops. I will have two incredible rooks. I have a very disgusting queen. And even though you are up a piece, I managed to win this. So I took a pawn. I'm down a piece now, but I take another pawn. So now I'm down two pieces for two pawns or something. But I mean, this is looking disgusting. You will probably not survive this, and my 1800 rated opponent did not survive this. So now this is a pin, this is a pin. My Rick is coming to pin this, and my opponent tries to unpin the one pin. Then I had to take this because he could run away. And if I, for example, allow this, that would be checkmate if the knight didn't defend. So in this situation, he might be saved. Although I still have some tactics like this, and if you move the queen, I take, and you cannot take with the queen because this is mate. There are still a lot of tactics, but I'm down two pieces for two pawns, so I have to be very, very, very quick. And in the previous video, I already showed you that there are two win conditions, either a passed pawn or a checkmating attack. Here I have a passed pawn, so I could win like that, or I just checkmate your king like I did. So after take, 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 here I have this pin, that pin, very disgusting. You do this, and now I have to take, trade queens. And when queens are traded, usually there is not a checkmate anymore. And I am down a piece now because I did win this piece back, but for two pawns. So this is very, very manageable. And I'm down a piece for these two pawns. So my extra pawns is actually already a passed pawn. So I do have a win condition. I will look with the engine in a second, but this might be already winning. After you do this, I could, for example, take and give a check. Then you probably have to go back. I can pin this bishop again, but you can defend. Then I can start pushing these passed pawns, and you cannot take them because you have to keep guarding your bishop. And that might be a good plan of combining my pressure with a checkmating attack and having the pressure of a passed pawn until it's too much pressure, but there is no need for complications anymore. I can just slide back, keep this pin, keep this pin. If you move the king, that's a free piece. So the only thing you can do is move the king to keep guarding both pieces and step out of both pins. But I have this pin now. And I think that is just GG. If you try to defend like this, it will not work. I can just attack your knight another time, and you cannot defend a light squared knight with a dark squared bishop, and this rook cannot come to the knight. So that would be a free piece, and then I will probably emerge up 2 pawns, and my 2 pawns are very, very felt, which means that I can just push my pass pawn because that is my win condition. If you want to know what I mean with a win condition, just watch the previous video. It was very, very in depth on a win condition. So you try to attack my rook, and yeah, that's just checkmate. So let's go to the opening analysis now. So for the opening, we had this Scandinavian going. I developed my knight, and I only have included bishop here and knight out. This queen check is quite terrible. You can just develop your pieces while he is using his tempo, because after bishop to g4, you develop a bishop and we play bishop to e2 anyway. So he moved the queen again, and we can play bishop to e2, and that move came this natural because I know we play this anyway with the lines with bishop g4. So I know it's a pattern, and I just know the pattern. So I have most of my openings memorized as I recommend to you, but only the beginning, and then I don't know moves like queen to e4, but that looks quite horrible because we can defend while we keep the same patterns intact like we do in other variations. Like bishop here, we just unpin, you develop, we kingside castle, and then most people just queenside castle, we kick the bishop, and after some take and take, rook to e1 like I played, and then we can go for this pawn structure. I think in the game we played it more aggressive, but you see a lot of the same structure, so yeah, and after you develop the knight, we play d4. This might look a bit more familiar. With then c4, the queen has to go. We can develop this bishop. Bishop can come. We can do this. You kingside castle in this variation. And this is one variation where we do play bishop to d3, and this looks a little bit like a Vienna main line. And if you don't know what I mean, I have a lot of videos on the Vienna main line. And I mean, we will just kick the bishops, we will solidify everything. The best move for our opponent is actually to just sacrifice this pawn, which no one will ever find. And after take and take and take, we do have quite a damaged structure, but we have a lot of activity. We can move this king and attack like this. I have a whole sample line that goes incredibly deep, but I will not go over it. The whole line that is for my opening course. And other than that, let's just go to the analysis. So the main takeaways of this video is how to find counterplay. If you see, I was winning the whole way, then I blundered my bishop, I was losing, and I found counterplay, and that is how I won this game. The way you found counterplay is the same way as how to convert a position. It is with a win condition. I explained this very, very in depth in the previous video. If you want the in-depth analysis of how to convert with a win condition, you should watch the previous video. If you want to learn how to find counterplay with a win condition, should watch this video. So this check is horrible. I do find the best move because I just know the patterns. You do whatever this is, and I can develop a piece with an attack on the queen. You do this, and then this is quite a terrible move, apparently. I should just take the center with a pawn or castle my king. I did say that you should always do the most flexible move, and I'm for sure going to castle kingside, so fair enough, probably castling kingside. And then looking at what he does will be a good tactic. Like, let's say he does this to open up. I can just take the center. If he develops the knight, I can apparently do this already, and it's very difficult to stop this threat, except with queenside castle. Now I can go for this pawn chain, which we already saw in the opening analysis. That's why I say that you should also understand your openings and just know all of the patterns, because this is a pattern that we already saw, but in a completely unique line and in a completely unique position. And after the queen moves, we can just keep developing. He can develop and we can develop. And after take, this is a free pawn with a check, or we can take. Now we have pressure on this knight, pressure on this pawn, pressure on this pawn. Our queen can come help with a kingside attack, and either we will pawn storm him, try to go for a kingside attack, or try to make this a majority attack and have a passed pawn. That's probably how we win the game. I should I would probably try to make this a checkmating attack. Develop this queen and maybe pawn storm him to open up lines for our rooks. So that's a tiny, tiny sample line on how the engine wants to play. But I attack the queen, you go here, and now I develop this pawn. This is also a thing that we saw in the opening analysis. And now he attacks my knight. So I go back while attacking a bishop. The engine actually wants me to go to the center so that if you take, I can take the bishop with an attack on the queen. You have to move. And then apparently I can sacrifice my knight because I can trap a rook. That is very, very difficult to see, especially in a 10-minute game. So I go for the save option and go back with a attack on the bishop. Apparently, attacking the bishop is bad because you want to go here anyway, and now I force you to make a good move. But my opponent didn't see it. So the plan was to go to d3, and you should always keep your opponent's plans in mind. If the plan is to go here, you should just try and stop it while making a move that you wanted to make anyway. So we want to take the center with a pawn anyway, and now we can do it while boycotting bishop to d3 because this move makes it so that the queen doesn't see it and our queen does see it. He develops and he's already losing because I can attack the queen, has to go back, and I can put a lot of pressure like this. You should defend it. I can castle. You should develop. And now the winning move is to pin this knight while attacking this pawn. You should save this pawn. Now I can attack the pinned piece. And after you do this, I have to find this backwards knight move. And I don't know why. Maybe it is for bishop here. So what if I do this one? You go here. What is the purpose of this? Here you move, I go here and I try to exchange bishops. You move, I take the bishop, you take with the knight. I attack this, you have to block. I can go back with an attack. You can try and trade this off. I can sacrifice my bishop because if you take this, I have check here and mate. So I sack my bishop, you have to retreat. Yeah, this is not the easiest line, if you didn't notice. And now I move my bishop here, but I can't really see the purpose because if you just trade knights, attack my queen, en passant, take back, and now I have opened up lines and I will work with the same pins and I just have a lot of pressure. Okay, I didn't see that. Sue me. That's just incredible. That is engine play. So I follow opening principles and castle my king. You make another waste of a move. And if your opponent wastes moves, that probably means that you have more activity and you should break open the center. That's not the most accurate move, but he misses this anyway. And then I make the most flexible move, which is fine. You develop a piece. And I go for this, which is one of the engine moves, but not the top engine move. And this is an inaccuracy because you can just move the queen, but you move the queen wrongly. I should have tried to attack the queen apparently, so that if you move the queen, I could just keep attacking your queen and storm you off of the board. I didn't think about that. I wanted to just develop this bishop. After this, I have take, take, develop the bishop is the best move. You develop this, I attack the queen, and this is an inaccuracy. I should have attacked the queen like this. Now you cannot take because it's defended with a lower rated piece, and you should also understand this. So I attack the queen. This is attacked twice and defended once. But if I attack the high rated piece, it has to move first before you can capture it. And the only way to do it is by capturing with the queen, but then you lose a queen for two pieces. So that is impossible. So the highest rated piece cannot capture because it's defended with a knight. And after it moves, you can do whatever you want. But I didn't see. I practically just blundered my knight, and after take and take and take, I am now losing. So how do I still try to win this game is probably the main takeaway of this video. How you still try to win this game is, first of all, capture this pawn because it opens up lines to the king, and you can only find counterplay with either a checkmating attack or a passed pawn. So the only thing we can do is push these 3 on 2, make a passed pawn, and promote our pawn. And then he will probably have to give up a piece for the pawn, and like that we will get back into an equal position, or we just attack the king. So after this and take, we could have taken here, but then we trade queens, and I don't want to trade queens. So I take this pawn, which is apparently a blunder because you can't just defend this knight. And apparently I don't have any counterplay left. Apparently. But I thought I make a passed pawn, and maybe I'm threatening to give this check. And after this and check, apparently it's just fine. He can move the king and everything is well defended. And then I'm just losing. But I do have my passed pawn still, so I would probably try to push it, maybe put a rook behind it. He can castle. I push my pawn. Let's say you retreat to the wrong square. I immediately win this back, and I'm only down a piece for 2 pawns. And keep in mind, it is weak, very strong pawns for potentially a very weak piece, which can be very, very clutchable. After this, probably just keep pushing and pushing. Okay, don't blunder a fork though. But I mean, you understand the point. So this is bad, and the only way to stop me is this. Or you can put your knight back, and I'm also losing, but I can still pin, and now he has to again guard this knight. But my opponent did do the move that I thought of and just break this pin instead of defending the knight and then trying to castle. So I take and take because now I have to keep this pin. And apparently I'm still losing if he finds king to f8 because he unpins. This is attacked once and defended once. This is attacked once and defended once. And let's say I put more pressure because it's unpinned. Now my rook will be hanging. So I do have to try to defend or move my rook or take. If I try to pin this, I cannot pin it because the rook is just defended. And like that, all of my pressure is gone. But my opponent tries to play too aggressively. And this is exactly what I always teach all of my students. Even if you're up a piece for a pawn, you should still think about how strong are my pieces, and you are playing without a rook. Me too, but I can include my rook in a move. You cannot do that. You need one, two, three moves. I only need one. So it feels at the moment like I'm very, very winning. And he just attacks my bishop, which is horrible because I can now do this. I keep the pin. If you run away, that's a free piece. If you run away, I still have this pin. If you defend your knight, that doesn't really achieve much because I can still attack this bishop now. And you cannot defend it with the rook. And if you want to defend it with this rook, you have to move the knight, but you can't because of the pin. So, like that, all of the pressure gets too much. So, after you try to unpin, I can pin again, and now you're screwed because this pin makes it so that you cannot take this rook. I attack your bishop, attack your knight. The only way to defend the knight is with this, but I can put more pressure and you cannot put more defense. So, you should always have a look at, can I attack things more? If the answer is yes, how do they defend it? And if the answer is they can't, you just want something. GG. So like that, I pin. This is just blundering made in one. So if he did this, I can pin, you move the bishop, I can take, 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 you move, I take, and like that, I am up 3 pawns. The way I win this position is by, first of all, not blundering checkmate. Very important. And after you move, I will just win another pawn in this variation. Move, you can attack. I have to move. You can move. I can move. And oh, let's not give up that pawn though. So I would probably do something. Oh no, okay. Saving this pawn is more important. You take, and now I can push. And the way to win this is by making your bishop very, very active and start pushing your passed pawns. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Um, and I mean, I will try to attack the bishop, and now you just do this. I don't understand how the engine wants to convert this. He's giving up pawns, and I think that's unnecessary. Try to stabilize the position. Defending this is already necessary, but very annoying. And here I would just try to not blunder pawns and just activate my pieces. So get your bishop in the center, defend this pawn, and get your pieces as active as possible while maintaining all of your activity. Which is actually very annoying. This position is not as easy to convert as you would think, to be fair. Um, Yeah, this is quite annoying actually. So never give up because this is not the easiest thing. And now we will start a majority attack here while having this pressure going. And now we move the rook. You move the king, we move this. And after check, we move the king. Now we are in a good position because we can start pushing these pawns as well and use this as a big, big distraction and move these pawns, make a pass pawn, push these pass pawns if he allows it, and that's how we win. So if you learned anything, subscribe. Other than that, I will see you in the next one.